Welcome once again, my friends, and thank you for stopping by to listen to an old storyteller. Today we have a story from India, and the title of this story is A Courtesan Who Worked a Miracle. A sage stood by the Ganges River. He had gathered about him a great crowd of admirers. All the citizens of the city of Pataliputra were there, as were many travelers from afar. Even the king of Pataliputra was in attendance. Only by good deeds and noble thoughts, said the sage, are great things possible. By means of an act of truth, a king may ride in a chariot of fire drawn by lions. What is truth without action? A dam can be built to hold back a river, but can truth do this without action? Impossible, the populace agreed. Truth requires action. But one voice was heard in the moment after the crowd had spoken together. That voice came from Bindumati, a certain courtesan. She said, "Truth requires nothing but itself to prove its power." All eyes fell upon her as though she had blasphemed. She stepped forth from the crowd and stood at the river's edge. As even the sage challenged her with his eyes, she explained herself. "Here I am, a lowly harlot in the city of Pataliputra. By the sale of my body do I make a livelihood. It keeps me from poverty, but it does not raise me to a noble status. Am I steeped in noble deeds? Could I, even aided by 1,000,000 strong hands, turn back this river by means of a concerted action?" They agreed she could not perform such a deed even with 1,000,000 hands, but insisted also that it was because she lacked the purity required for action to be equated with truth. "Observe, then," said Bindumati, "what faith in the truth, rather than in truthful action, can achieve." Bindumati began to recite sacred hymns. At her back the mighty Ganges began to roll and rage. In a din of waves and whirlpools, it rolled itself backward and flowed toward the Himalayas. The king cried out, "How is that possible? The mighty Ganges is flowing backward." Filled with profound emotion, he hurried forth to the courtesan and asked her, "Is it true that by faith you have used truth to force back these waters?" "It is true, sire." The king asked, "How is it you have power of this magnitude, but live as a harlot? I have taken the word to heart and carried it forward by my actions. Yet beside you, my authority is insignificant, for never could I have turned back the mighty river." "It is not my power," said Bindumati. "It is the power of truth." The king asked, "How can that power be in a woman who lives without restraint, who plunders fools, who is full of transgressions?" "That is just the kind of creature I am," said Bindumati, as though she were proud of it. "Therefore, even my doubtful nature embodies truth, which by itself can turn the worlds of divinity and humanity upside down. I live by great truth. So the waters turned back at my request." "What is this great truth that requires no further action?" "O king, whosoever comes to me for pleasure and carrying gold, whether he is a Brahmin, a tradesman, a prince, or a servant, I regard them as one. I make no distinctions. If I am told he is a slave, or an outcast, or an imbecile, I do not despise him. I neither fawn on him, nor dislike him. I do service to whoever buys me. This, O king, is the truth by which I have turned back the Ganges." Then, by raising her hands, she let the Ganges return to its normal path. Thank you once again for listening to this story. If you enjoyed this story, please press that like button. Also, please help an old storyteller out by subscribing to my channel. The next story will be posted in a few days, so until then, may your story continue to be a good one.